All right, what's up everybody? We got the helmets down, we got the harness down. Now it's time to learn how to tie our first climbing knot. The name of the knot is the Bowline on a Bight knot. And actually there's another knot that we're gonna learn kind of simultaneously called a backup knot. And I'm gonna teach you that right now. So first, I have my rope here, a little bit of terminology that'll kind of help you follow where I'm going with this. Anytime you create a bend in the rope like this, that's known as a bight, all right? Also, at the end of each rope are two tails, all right? So just a little terminology, tails and bight, if you hear me referring to those terms here throughout. So I'm gonna create, before I even begin the bowline on a bight, I'm gonna create a backup knot. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna create a bight in my rope, and this is how I do it. I kind of take my right hand and place my right index finger facing down on the longer strand of the two tails. I'm gonna take that shorter tail, wrap it around my finger once, twice to kind of create this X. Right here you can see the cross. And then the third time, instead of wrapping it around again, I'm gonna replace my finger with the tail right there. So I'm gonna take that tail, I'm gonna gently slide my finger out, put that tail in, and then I'm gonna just kind of pull tight. Now you can see if I did it right, because you can see that X in the shape of the rope, as well as I don't have very long of a tail. We always want our tail to pass the tilt test. Basically, if you hold your knot upside down, the tail doesn't flop over. We don't want it to be too long. Another way I can tell if I did it right is by taking that knot that I just created, the backup knot, in my left hand and pulling on the bight. You can tell it's a little adjustable, right? That rope slides. So I'm gonna take the backup knot that I just tied in my left hand and the bight in my right, and just to make sure I have enough rope to work with, I'm gonna hold it out like I'm riding this big motorcycle in front of me. All right, and I want just beyond shoulder width, just like that. And I know I now have enough space. So we're ready to tie the bowline on a bight knot here. How I'm gonna do it is I'm gonna keep my strands nice and dressed, keep them side by side, take the bight, fold it over to the left-hand side so it kind of looks like a giant candy cane right now. Take that bight, once again, bring it in front of my two strands and keeping it above the backup knot. So now we kind of have this figure 8 looking shape. And that bight right there is gonna come through the top part of the figure 8, just like this. I'm gonna take the bight, come through the top, and I'm gonna pull pretty gently. I don't want these to be super tight right now, because I'm actually gonna do one more step that's kind of gonna undo this knot. But if I did it correctly, I have two knots now. I kind of have this figure 8 knot and this backup knot. One last step, and this is where it gets a little tricky. I want you to look at this kind of like a tongue coming out over a bottom lip, right? Just like that, tongue right here, bottom lip here. This way would be incorrect because the tongue is coming out under the top lip. We don't want it like that. I want my tongue, or the bight part of the rope, facing the left, coming out over that bottom lip area right here. This is what you're gonna do. Take your left index and thumb, come up through the bottom of the tongue. You're gonna grab the top two strands right here, not these two. Grab the top two strands with your left index finger and thumb going on the strand closest to your backup knot, index on the other one. I'm gonna take my right hand, take what was once the tip of my tongue, or the bight, and fold it so it gently rests on my backup knot, just like that. Notice I didn't let go yet. I still got my left index and thumb up here. But now I'm gonna take my right hand and kind of hold on here, and just like I'm turning an itty bitty steering wheel, I'm gonna just turn my left hand to the left to create two little loops that look like that. The last step is to make sure it's nice and tight, and I've just tied a flawless, might I say, bowline on a bight knot.